Video on Mercury Uranus. So this aspect in astrology is shocking, stimulating, invigorating, fun, crazy, disruptive. So one of the things to know about any aspect is the way that it feels to you might be different than the way it feels to somebody else, depending on what your own chart is made up of. So people with Mercury Uranus natally might find this transit more exhilarating and more fun, or they may find that they're so mentally stimulated already that this just pushes you over the edge. Either way, there's the energies of change and disruption and unexpectedness infused into Mercury, which is going to be our communication and our mind. So most of us are going to be either feeling excited and amped up and have, good, big ideas all of a sudden, or maybe overly stimulated and like, oh, I got so much to do. I got to do this and this and this, like when you're buzzing with energy. So think of that term buzzing with energy when you're buzzing with mental energy and how that makes you feel. And I think of things like when I just got back from a concert and I'm like at home afterwards and I'm just like singing the last song and it's like that lingering high almost. Or like when you meet someone and just mentally you're like with them and you just have the best conversation ever and it's so fun and it's so engaging and you don't want to stop talking. I mean, I've met people in my life who I could just talk to for like hours, and it's like hours have gone by and it was the best experience ever, just kind of bouncing off ideas or sharing what we knew about things, and it was just so fun. So this is the kind of energy that I think of when I think of Mercury Uranus, is that buzzing mental energy, right? Because Uranus is one of the things Uranus rules is electricity. And again, Mercury rules our mind. So when we think of this is like a shot of something, a shot of electricity into our mind. That doesn't make it feel very cool. Either way, you know what I mean. Our mind is like stimulated. It's like Uranus kind of pours energy into it. Another thing Uranus does, and what we'll do is we'll go through the meaning for each sign here. But I want to kind of talk a little more for a minute about the archetypal energies, the themes. So Uranus can pour energy into it. And this is why for some people, Uranus Mercury is going to feel more like exciting and fun and stimulating, and like you're on the edge of your seat, or you're ready to have a million conversations, or you have a sudden change to how you want to say something, or you blurt something out suddenly. I've seen Mercury Uranus connections in some charts of some comedians, and if you think of like how Uranus pours energy into a thing, and you think of how Mercury is like how we talk, and the sudden aspect of comedy and the timing aspect of comedy, this makes a lot of sense, because really, really, really good comedians, they're just like pouring energy into the audience, right? Their words are charged with sometimes emotion, but it's not even emotion. It's like with this force of energy that comes out, right? Otherwise they'd just be talking and it would just be boring, right? So, and then Uranus also gives people, Uranus Mercury, if this is a natal aspect, will give a person the ability to, and I wouldn't even call this an ability. I would call this more of a, just a thing that it does, because it can be good or challenging, is Mercury Uranus will make you blurt things out. Or it can even give a person a feeling of pressure around the thing. So sometimes Uranus in contact with a planet in the chart gives a feeling of pressure. Uranus Mars will make you feel pressure, like your anger will build up and then there'll be a breaking point. So if it's Uranus Venus, it's love, where your friendships or your relationships, the need to separate builds up and builds up until you have a breaking point. But when it's Mercury, it's the need to say something builds up and builds up until the tension is released. But for people who have this as a challenge, sometimes it'll be like They feel like they have to say something. And usually the people I've talked to who have this, when they do say something based on that, it doesn't work very well. Like it just doesn't feel like it's not well received when you put so much pressure on it and on anything, right? When we put so much pressure on something we have to say, then it tends to make it a little bit weird. And weird is a good keyword for Uranus too, right? Weird, different, unconventional. Genius, is another keyword for Mercury Uranus when it comes to just you think in a different way, right? And Uranus being not just different, but evolved and detached and far away and able to see the big picture. There is a genius energy around this too. So what the aspect that we're dealing with right now in the sky is an opposition, and we're going to go through what it means for each sign of the zodiac. So we'll start with Aries and we'll go through Pisces. Thanks to everyone for being here. Thank you for joining, for watching, for subscribing. There's currently a sale on readings. There's a link in the description. You can book yours now. They are filling up fast. They are filling up fast. So if you want to get one, there are a limited amount of spots. So I recommend booking soon to make sure you get the time that you would like. And what else? Oh, the second announcement before we get into the report for each sign is that there is a really cool event I just did called How to Find Your Aligned Career Using Astrology. We talk about why you should stop looking at the North Node, the 3 main places in the chart to look for career, and what if you don't have planets in the 10th house. I'm just making sure there is a link for that in the description. Yes, there is a link for that in the description. So go watch that after this. It's free and it's like an hour of me teaching you about astrology with slides and everything. So that being said, let's go ahead and get into the chart. How is everyone feeling with the energy of this weekend? Is anyone having sudden good ideas with this Mercury Uranus? Are you feeling charged? Like emotionally? We also have some other stuff going on, and I'll pull up the chart. I'll talk about the other stuff going on, and then we'll get into the signs. But you guys let me know how it's feeling. Okay, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. I just did it and undid it. Let's do it again. Here we go. I think I'm moving faster than the computer can move right now. Let me try slowing it down. There we go. Let's make sure. I'm going to make sure that's working. I think it's working. But it's weird. It's being a little weird over here. You guys, those of you who are live, let me know if you can see the whole chart here. It should be on the left side. I should be on the right side. There we go. Yeah, it's working. Okay, now that we have the chart up, let's look at what else we see happening in the sky at this moment. We're going to move it, make sure it's on right now. And as you see, Mercury here is at 21 degrees of Scorpio. And we have Uranus at 21 degrees of Taurus, making the opposition. Now Mars is nearby, but not too close. Actually, I mean, Mars is here involved. Mars stimulates it even more, which is why it's kind of more important, because we have not just Mercury and Uranus hanging out with each other. Mars is activating it and just bringing more energy to our need to get to the bottom of things and find the root cause of things in our Scorpio house. Okay, so we have Mercury opposite Uranus. We also have Jupiter opposite the Sun. Now this is a transit where basically our eyes are bigger than our stomach, or we tend to bite off more than we can chew. That's kind of the standard definition here. And then we have something else. We have Venus opposite Neptune. Venus opposite Neptune is really good for setting a scene, watching a beautiful movie, going on the best date ever, romance. but it's also good for deception. So the keywords of deception, keywords of biting off more than we can chew, and keywords of sudden information, sudden realization of a root cause of a thing, these are all things that can be happening now. So, this does not mean everyone is going on a date with a serial killer or something crazy like that, because they all affect us differently. Right? Because just looking at one example, Venus opposite Neptune. Neptune tends to dissolve. And with Venus there, it's like, what is Venus? Well, it's love and money for all of us. But for each of us, Venus is something else. Venus rules a different place in the chart. So it rules a different area of life. For Libra risings, it's you. And so Libra risings might be, I don't know, getting all made up or creating a certain image they want to share with the world, projecting a certain image, and that image may or may not be true. It may or may not be like real, kind of like when you put on 10 pounds of makeup, and I say that with 10 pounds of makeup on. But it's like that image may or may not be accurate, but it's still a certain level of deception. I'm not saying it's bad or wrong, but it falls under Neptune, because Neptune deceives. Neptune is a projection. It's what we see on a screen. And we know that, like Superman really isn't shooting webs out of his hand, but it's more fun when it looks like he is. Okay, so that's the beauty of Neptune. Sometimes we want to be deceived and it's fine. The challenge is when we don't want to be deceived and we don't know we are being deceived. Again, this doesn't mean everyone's getting tricked this weekend, but like if you go on the best date of your whole life this weekend, I would want to make sure that person really is who you think they are. That's all I'm saying. So let's go to now the specific aspect we're going through over today. If you have not seen, another thing that's happening today is Saturn goes direct. Now, Saturn is retrograde half the year and direct half the year. So in my opinion, when the outer planets are retrograde or direct, it does change things a little because it has to do with the cycle of the sun. Whenever an outer planet is retrograde, that means it's opposite the sun. So when Saturn goes direct, we know it's coming into, if not close to, a trine with the sun, because that's just how the cycle goes. So the good thing about it going direct kind of is that like it's coming into a trine, and trines are positive. But the thing about Saturn retrograde and direct to know about it is that how do I put it? The fact that it's direct isn't as big of a deal as the fact that it goes direct today. So you can see a change to the themes of that planet sometimes on the day where it goes retrograde or direct. But I don't personally think it being retrograde or direct matters as much as we tend to think it does. Anyway, if you want more on Saturn direct, watch that video after this one, because there's a whole video on what the meaning of Saturn direct is for all of us. So let's go to Mercury Uranus. Mercury here in Scorpio, where it wants to go deep. It wants to get to the bottom of a thing. It wants to know the root cause. It wants to research. Okay, with Mars here, this can be going down some metaphysical, spiritual conspiracy theory rabbit hole. And I'm not saying I've never done this. But it can be, again, everything has like a good or a challenging side. If you have research you need to do, this might be a good time to do it, because you might just be inspired. You might just learn something and you want to go figure it all out and go get the deeper information. Uranus being here will stimulate Mercury. Now, sometimes that's going to function by pouring energy into it. So this can be, again, getting a wild hair and just going crazy on some research you wanted to do about anything you've ever wanted to research, or you never knew you wanted to, and then you just see something and bam, now you're activated, now you're on it. You could have a change of mind today with Uranus and Mercury opposite each other, because Uranus functions like an on and off switch. And when Uranus makes a contact with Mercury, then your plans could be turned on or turned off. So it's like, I would say the way to watch it would be a day, I would say, to watch out for like a sudden impulsive decision based on an emotion. I would watch out for that because yeah, especially with Venus opposite Neptune, you might not have all the information. So if you're trying to make a big decision, or you just feel this pressure to do something, this would be a weekend to really think, well, do I really need to do this thing? This would be a weekend to take a step back and detach for a moment and just consider if that rabbit hole you want to go down is worth it. Because that's kind of what it feels like the worst case scenario could be. The best case scenario, you get some genius idea, but it's like with the opposition, there's something challenging about it. And with the opposition being in Taurus and Scorpio, it's like the polarity between our desire for security, and our desire for drama and intensity might feel like they're a bit at odds, where the Mars and the Mercury side of us wants that intensity and that drama and to go deep and like to have deep sexual experiences, to have deep psychological experiences, to watch a psychological thriller and like have your mind blown, to learn astrology and have your mind blown, to do anything else that you would ever think this can blow my mind based on whatever you're into, right? That might change depending on who you are. Like if you're a nurse, you might learn something about nursing. You're like, oh my gosh, that blows my mind about the bones in the body and how they're connected. Like whatever you're into, this would be a day where maybe you just want to go have your mind blown. But that Uranus and Taurus is like, I don't know, there's a discomfort here where it's like, are we willing to change though? Or do we have the security that we need to have the freedom to go have our mind blown? I don't know how that's going to show up for you. Let me know if it makes sense in the comments. Sometimes the stuff I don't understand what it means is like the strongest for all of you. Don't ask me how that works. It just does. Okay, so I think now will be a good time to transition into the signs, the forecast for all signs. So now we'll start with Aries and we'll go through Pisces, and we'll talk about what this Mercury-Uranus opposition means for each sign of the zodiac. Don't hesitate after this to binge watch all my other videos because I have a lot of them. We have Saturn direct. That one's happening today as well. So if you haven't seen that, I highly recommend watching that one too. And we also have eclipse videos. Those are still going to be accurate. Although the eclipse has passed, I would still recommend checking them out because they are valid for up to 6 months. So it helps you prepare. Also, 2 quick announcements. 1, readings are on sale 50% off. Click the link in the description to get yours. 2, there's a really cool new video of me teaching people how to find your aligned career using astrology. Click the link in the description to get that. And let's go ahead now and get into the different signs. So I'm going to make a couple changes here. While I'm doing that, you guys say hello. Say hello in the chat. Let me know you're here. I love hearing from you guys, even if all you do is say hi. And let's show this. And there we go. We are going to... I'm going to back this up a bit so we can start with Aries. That was too far. Here we go. We can see, okay, so we can see it's not going to be perfectly timed, but that's irrelevant. So just know that We're still just reading the moment of the 4th of November for Aries. Okay, so we have, I feel like I better set a timer actually. Okay, for Aries, we have Mercury in your 8th house. Mercury and Mars in your 8th house, opposite Uranus in your 2nd house. So this is probably going to have to do for you guys with your money or other people's money, or it may have something to do with you getting out of your comfort zone and feeling really stimulated to do that, feeling really almost maybe inspired or dare I say forced. Forced isn't really the word I like, but strongly encouraged by the universe to get out of your comfort zone and expand, right? So that expansion can be facing some kind of fear. There might be conversations related to money or intimacy where that brings sudden changes you weren't expecting. There could be something related to finances or debt. Some of you Aries out there might be like wanting to figure money out, wanting to figure out your interest and your payments and your investments, things that have to do with that. Others of you may be getting real spiritual this weekend, especially when it comes to the veil, piercing the veil, the other side, things like this. These things might be topics you're dealing with. Now, for you, Mercury rules your 3rd house of communication and your 6th house of work, and it's in the 8th house. So you may find that something changes related to your work schedule, and it has to do with something that has to do with intimacy with another person, or like almost like picking up more work because your partner is not there, so you have to do more, or something along those lines. For others, this could be more like just having more chores to do to take care of your significant other, if you have one. And for others, it could be even someone revealing feelings to you or something that, I don't know, it doesn't feel good though, if that's the case. It feels like there's something you're learning about someone close to you that may or may not be positive. It's just kind of unexpected. Now, for other people, this isn't going to be as big of a transit. It might just be like a bill you get in the mail that you didn't know you had, and that just goes onto your list of bills to pay for the month or something. So that is what I have for Aries. I see the money places being lit up the most. So it has to do with like work, debt, what you owe, what you are owed, and something highlighted, or something being stimulated related to that. You could also get a lot of good ideas, or just really enjoy going down some kind of psychological rabbit hole. It really could be that for Aries especially. So we're going to go on now to the next sign, which is going to be Taurus. Okay, for Tauruses, for this one, we've got Mercury in your 7th house of relationships, opposite Uranus in your 1st house. So Mercury in the 7th can bring more activity to relationships or more thoughts about relationships, and Uranus can bring some kind of change. For you, because Mercury rules the 5th house of dating and Venus is there, this feels like it's probably related to love. Now, it could be you stop dating someone, you break up with someone, they break up with you. This doesn't feel as like, I don't want to predict that. For those of you where everything's fine, it may not be that, but it does feel like probably a conversation needs to happen in relationship, or a sudden change. Now, for some of you, it could be going deeper into a relationship, right? It could be the kind of conversation where it's like you get closer to a person, you feel like you know them more, you're ready to, talk about the future or something. That's not going to be everyone. And then for those who are single, I don't feel like it could be a change to your relationship status. But to me, this feels a little bit more minor. It feels a little bit more like if it's that, it's probably like someone asks you out, not necessarily now we're committed kind of a thing. Although keep in mind, these hit differently for everyone. Now, the other thing that we could see here for Tauruses is going to be Mercury ruling your second house of money. So this is your money planet. So it almost feels like you could spend something on a partner at this time, Taurus. You could just do that. You could also get a sudden bill or have a sudden payment. Just because like when Uranus hits that money planet, usually there's a change to money. So it's like a bill is higher than you thought it would be, like your heat bill is higher, or like your paycheck, you get an extra amount that wasn't expected, or something like that. And because it's an opposition, it's usually less happy, right? So it's probably not like you just got a huge raise. But it still feels like there's joy here. So it's like, because Mercury is the fun house, the ruler of the fun house. So it's like, I don't know, maybe you are taking time off and you get less money, but you planned it or something. It feels like even if it is a challenge, it feels like there's something fun and happy about this for you guys. We're going to go on now to the next sign, which is Gemini. Let me know, you guys, how it resonates. I love hearing from you. Geminis, we have Mercury in your 6th house of work with Mars opposite Uranus in the 12th. Ugh, I don't like it. Mercury's you. I don't like it. Mercury also rules your 4th house of home. Best case scenario, you're investing time or energy into working more so you can pay for something related to your house. You're working some overtime that maybe was unexpected. Maybe you got called into work this weekend. Maybe you wanted to do something and it fell through. I mean, that could be a thing for Geminis. It's like something you were hoping on happening, that you were working toward happening, didn't fully realize the way you wanted it to, and it was a shock for that reason. Mercury being you in the 6th house opposite Uranus makes me feel like it's a loss of some kind. Now, this could be not the biggest loss. It could be you did an event and no one showed up, or you got half the people there or something, right? It doesn't have to be the biggest loss of your whole life, but it does feel like maybe something's challenging. You could also there could be a change to something related to your home, like whether you are going to stay home or be out today. Again, it's leading me more towards working overtime or doing chores, or kind of either getting stuck doing stuff you don't want to do, or I don't know, it's kind of like when you just wanted to clean the toilet and then you realize you need to reset the whole toilet, and then you end up doing a whole project to like that kind of stuff sucks. Like then you got to fix something else that's rotten, and then you got to fix, it's like that kind of a thing. But apply that to whatever applies to you in your life, in your home, where it's like there's some kind of rabbit hole you're going down in your schedule, in what you're doing today, in what you're doing this weekend, in your day-to-day stuff. And it's like maybe it's dirty or gross, or you have to clean something out or something. For some Geminis, this could be more related to health or diet, where it's like this could be a time where you're like, okay, I'm going to stop eating sugar. Okay, I'm going to figure out why this food makes me feel so bad, or something like that. That could also be going on. Okay, let me see here. I am just checking something. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I had to check something with the live there. But that's what I've got with Gemini. You could be going back and forth and juggling stuff. Like, it's weird because it's like juggling stuff related to your day-to-day work, but also going deeper into something. So Geminis don't usually like doing like deep research and stuff. Usually you'd rather like do the lighter side of a project, of an informational project. So I almost wonder if some Geminis are getting wrapped up in something that's that feels too deep for you. Or it's just deep enough, just depending on other stuff. With Mars here, I don't know. Some of you, I don't know why I feel like some of you are just getting kinky right now. And I don't even know what that is about. But some Gemini watching this probably knows exactly what I'm talking about. And we're going to move on on that note. And if that doesn't apply to you, that's fine. I don't need you to announce that, especially if I say, I'm noticing this. If I say sometimes or some of you, it really doesn't mean, it really just means some of you, not every single person. All right, so we are going to move on now to the next sign, which is Cancer. Hey, Amber, thanks for saying hi. Oh, shoot. You know what? I didn't do these. I'm just going to take those off because I'm going to forget to do them. Okay, Cancers. What is happening for you with Mercury Uranus? Well, we have Mercury in the fifth house of fun, conjunct Mars, making it more fun, more stimulating, more interesting. But Mars is here, the sun is here. If you have kids, probably a lot of focus on your kids right now. If you have a business, probably trying to figure out how to get to the bottom of what you need to do in your business. Maybe stimulated to start some new creative project or work on a current creative project of some kind. Feeling stimulated to go have some fun in a way that is like deep and like, feeds your mind, blows your mind a little bit, takes you to some depth of your soul. Feeling that. I'm going to drink water for a moment while I think about what this means for Cancers. Okay, so what do we have here for Cancers? Mercury in the fifth, yeah, like going back and forth, being creative projects, juggling kids and fun, juggling something, getting to the bottom of something related to your fun or your pleasure, doing things that involve pleasure. Mars here stimulating that. I mean, this could be positive for like romance and stuff. If you're single, this could be a time where maybe you get to know someone better and it's freaking you out, or it's drawing you in, probably one or the other, Cancer. I don't know. I just feel like going back and forth between one fun thing or passionate thing to a different passionate thing, or going back and forth between something fun that's like a distraction and then to something more serious that you're like focusing on. So like work hard, play hard are the keywords I get for Cancer. Let me know if that resonates. I love hearing from you guys. But also, I forgot to think about this. Mercury rules your third house and your 12th house. So things that are thrilling can be coming up here. It could just be like a thriller, watching a thriller. But also communication and relationships, and how are you communicating who you are creatively. So that can be like telling jokes. It can be like, telling jokes, or like being yourself and feeling more compelled to be yourself. And that might actually, you might feel pressure, Cancers, around trying to be yourself, or whether you're yourself. And you might feel with Mars here, like you have to defend your right to be who you are right now, or you have to kind of defend yourself against something that's like your own creativity. You have to defend your kids, or you have to tell your kids to stop being so aggressive in a certain way, something like that. So that's what I have for Cancers. We're going to go on to the next sign, which is Leo. Amber, this is the transit of Mercury Uranus, the opposition that's happening today. And for anyone else jumping on just now, that is what we're doing. We're talking about Mercury opposite Uranus, which is the active transit at this very moment. Okay, so going on to Leo, and you guys can watch your sun, moon, and rising. Going on to Leo for this transit, we have Mercury in the 4th, opposite Uranus in the 10th. So Mercury in the 4th can be home, like redecorating or redoing something. This can be literal, where Leos are fixing their plumbing right now or something, where it's like there's some kind of project. Maybe you have to go deeper down into the foundation or deeper down into the plumbing or other areas of the house that are not seen Maybe you have to kill some bugs at home. There's a lot of things Scorpio can be. They're dirty things that are unseen that are gross. Okay. Your plumbing, your sewage, the bugs that live under the house or get in, or stuff like that. So maybe you have to clean something gross or deal with something gross. For everyone else, Mercury in the fourth can also be you taking time to think about stuff, right? Because Mercury in the fourth is like, it's kind of like you sitting on your bed journaling, you sitting on your bed contemplating the deeper things in life, and Mars here stimulating that, being like, figure it out, figure it out, figure it out. So there might be a part of you who's like, I got to figure this out. I got to figure out this emotional pattern that's stopping me in my career. It could be something like that. Or it can also be actually a good thing where maybe today's the day where you have some kind of sudden realization about kind of why you are the way you are, that is possibly can have hopefully some positive effect, right? I don't know if you have ever had this. I have Mercury in my fourth house, and this happens where sometimes I'm just sitting there and I realize why I am the way I am. And it's this deep realization that is cleansing, right? It's cleansing when you realize in a therapy session, or when you're journaling, or when you're talking to someone, or when you get a reading or something, when you realize that, oh, this is the root cause of this. And it's not because you are making excuses. It just helps you moving forward. It's cathartic. There's some kind of release that happens here. This is a possibility for Leos this weekend. Now, others of you might just be having a bunch of people over and having a lot of conversations at home, or have to do more talking at home, or more writing. Maybe you're working on a book or something, working on writing something at home, or a workbook, or any kind of thing you would write and publish. And with that opposition, maybe you got an idea here. And I didn't mention this for everyone else. I should have. But let's go back. Let's go back on the calendar here. As the calendar, I mean the chart. And see exactly when this happened. I think it was June, back when Mercury and Uranus met up together and they were conjunct. Yeah, around June 3rd-ish. So you can think back, Leo, to what was happening for you around the 3rd of June. And I'm making my way back to Leo on the screen here. Give me a moment. Around the 3rd of June was something starting for you, Leos, related to your Taurus house, which is your career, that maybe had themes of money, career changes. Right now is the biggest, the biggest challenge from that new cycle that started back in June, in the sense of the external things that are stopping you might be more obvious. And for some reason, for Leos, it makes me feel like you're going to be driven to look within to solve some kind of external problem, or to come up with some kind of strategy to defeat some, big bad boss in your career house, in your career sector. That doesn't mean your boss. It just means to defeat some kind of external challenge, right? Something happening in the outer world that you want to overcome. Because you're a Leo, it's probably making more money. Because it's your work, or having pride in your work and feeling like you can be proud of yourself. Probably one of those two things at issue here. And with Jupiter in the 10th house, it's going to help you do that. But it feels like this might be a weekend of strategy. Let me know, Leos, if this makes any sense to you. I always love hearing from you guys. So we're going to go on now to the next sign in the list, which is Virgos. So Virgos, reset, start. Okay, so you guys are having, because I'm a Virgo rising too, are having Mercury in the 3rd house, bringing a lot of mental stimulation. So you can go back and forth with what you want to say. You could feel a lot of pressure right now around what you have to say, or whether you're being heard. And so with Mars here, Mars can really be making you feel the heat. Like, I got to say this. I got to get this communication out. I got to have this conversation with this person. And it might be about being heard. It might be about, listening, hearing what someone else has to say. It might be about communicating what you know. You may feel like you're trying to communicate what you know. You have a lot of pressure on communicating what you know, especially related to something you started back in June, early June. Related to your ninth house of courses, teaching, higher education, travel, foreign languages. The meaning of life, astrology, faith, religion, the law. So think of whichever of those topics relate to your life in June and now, and think about how right now you might be feeling torn. You might be feeling torn between what you know and what you have to say. It's like you want to give a talk, but then you feel like, oh, I got to go back to school. Maybe you don't got to go back to school, but you might feel like you need to. You might feel like you need to go deeper into communication with something. You might feel like you need to get to the root cause of something related to your environment. So there can be something going on with your neighbors or your neighborhood as well, siblings, like some kind of challenge, some kind of argument or disagreement that you feel like you need to get resolved. You feel pressure to resolve something. Keep in mind, it's going to hit everyone different. Some people, this might have to do with your car, especially if your car needs a lot of internal work where they have to like go deep inside the car and clean stuff out, or, stuff that's like really, really invasive to the car, right? Not like just getting your oil changed, but like, replacing the engine, or like, getting, even like, I would say flushing the fluids would qualify for this. I love talking about cars. Don't ask me why, but it could be something where it's like you feel pressure to get some work done on your car or fix your car at a deeper level or something. Now, that's not going to be everyone. Only take that if that resonates. Now, there could also be something about a trip or a little commute this weekend, or feeling pressure to get places or to get things done, or just feeling pressure like you are so freaking busy. Yeah, and like I say yeah when it relates to me. Sorry. I can't help it. But yeah, like feeling that pressure, like you have to do so many things, you have to talk to so many people, you have to write so many emails, have so many conversations, or something like that. And it may be work related, but it might not be. It might just be busy trying to get a bunch of stuff done. It might be you have a course and you want to get through all the lessons, and just go deep into learning all the things or something like that. But overall, because Mercury is you might just feel a lot of pressure this weekend. And so I would say, really, if you're feeling like stressed or like you have to do a million things this weekend, it might be worth it to select the most important things and let it be okay that you can't do everything, because there might be a tendency here to feel like you have to do all the things until you hit a breaking point where you just kind of frazzle yourself. And we don't want that. It's kind of like you want to go to 5 stores, but maybe you really only have time to go to 1. So instead of going to all 5, maybe pick the one you really want to go to. Being more selective, being more deliberate, and doing the one thing that would make a lot of impact might help you in whatever you're dealing with this weekend, Virgo. Let me know if that resonates. Going on now to Libra. Okay, so for Libras, we are doing the opposition between Mercury and Uranus happening on the 4th of November, and how that is affecting your weekend, basically, and upcoming week. So for Libra, Mercury in the 2nd, opposite Uranus in the 8th. This is a money transit for you, strong, because it's both of the money houses, right? The 2nd, 8th axis is our money versus other people's money. So it's like with Mercury in the 2nd and Mars here, you could feel a lot of pressure to spend. Now, what you're spending on might be like a debt that is owed with Uranus in the 8th, making that aspect, or it could be something your partner wants you to spend. It could be your partner's money you're spending or wanting to spend. With Venus in the 12th, it's possible there could be less money from a partnership if you are in a position in life right now where you're depending on your partner's money. Some people could get your partner's money. You could get money. Now, let's say you're in a divorce right now. It's possible that when Uranus hits that opposition, excuse me, it's possible that this Uranus hitting, especially if you have planets in Scorpio, could kind of trigger a payment from an ex or from a current. That is not going to be everyone, and I'm certainly not everyone relies on other people's money. So just take that if it applies to you. And I need a little more water, guys. And then we'll keep going with Libra. Okay, so for Libra, let's think about this a little more. Mercury also is going to rule your 9th house of the meaning of life and your 12th house of self-sabotage, and it's in the money house with Mars. Libras, I'm just going to be real with you. Like, please don't go spend all your money on something you don't need, especially money you've been saving for something you need to save it for. With the 12th ruler in the second with Mars. Okay, Mars in the second house is like you'll be spending money. Now maybe this is planned and it's a impulse buy, but you've got the money, so you're fine. You know, if you're in that scenario, Mars might be stimulating you to spend money on 12th house stuff or 9th house stuff, astrology courses, astrology books, hypnotherapy, things that relate to altered states of consciousness, archetypes, spirit guides, how to reach your spirit guides, things that are faith, like shamanism, especially ones where you're in another realm with that 12th house emphasis here, you know, like shamanism or Akashic records or soul retrieval or other things where you're kind of not here grounded, you're out there doing it. You know, you're going to another level. You're going somewhere else in your mind. That's kind of a 12th house activity. You could also be spending money on or investing in recovery from addiction, recovery from any kind of addiction, recovery from any kind of mental health stuff. This is not a diagnosis. It's just saying this could be happening. You could also be investing in like psychology books if you're interested in psychology and just interested in knowing why people self-sabotage and like why people, you know, what's coming to mind is the topic of learned helplessness. I don't know, maybe some Libra out there is learning about learned helplessness. If you are, man, you're in the right place to get such a specific message. But that is this psychological concept, you guys, that like they did this study with these dogs. I'm going on a tangent here. They did this study with these dogs and they put them in these pens and they would zap them. They would get like a shock. And it was like from the mat underneath the dog. And when the dog was moved to a bigger like pen, you know, like not really a cage, but a cage kind of, even though there was a spot on the floor where they wouldn't get electrocuted, they wouldn't get a shock, the dogs who had been in these pens where they were getting shocked all the time, they didn't even try to move. So this is like the concept of learned helplessness, where when you're put in a situation where you're powerless so many times, you might not even try. And I don't know why I felt inspired to share this story. Maybe this is something Libras are, it's connecting to something in your life, or maybe there's someone else watching who just needs to hear that. But basically, that's a little side note. So I want to go recap Libra's report, which is Mercury in that second house bringing a lot of activity to money and maybe making you feel kind of pressured around spending. Like, I have to buy this thing now or something like that. So I would watch for that unless you know you already want to do that and it's going to work for you. Now, for some Libras, that might be like a debt or something coming through that you're like, I have to pay this now. But for others, it might be more like something fun you want to buy related to 9th house or 12th house stuff. Okay, moving on now to the next sign, which is Scorpio. Okay, so for Scorpios, what we have here is Mercury in your first house with Mars here and the opposition coming from your seventh house. So Mercury in the first usually is the time where you're going to have to talk more. You're going to have to communicate more. Just naturally, it's just what's going on right now. So more conversations, but with Mars here, it might be more heated conversations, more debates, more conversations with coworkers. The topic of work could be something you're talking about a lot because Mars rules your house, your sixth house. It could also be health or nutrition or diet. And with Mercury ruling your 11th house, maybe you're talking about or focusing on what your ideal diet should be or what your ideal work schedule. Maybe you're dreaming about that a little bit. Maybe Mars is really making you feel like I got to get on track for my goals and my dreams. Maybe you're feeling pressure to lose some weight or pressure to, get your body on track where you want it to be, or feeling pressure to get on track with whatever your current hope or dream in life is. So this might be a time where Scorpios are like, I got to get going with this. I got to get making money. I got to get moving. And there can also be sudden conversations that are a little more aggressive. Someone can be coming after you. People can be a little more defensive towards you at this time. Or it could just be like one situation where you have a hope or a dream or a desire that gets a little bit squashed, which Scorpios don't usually enjoy. No one likes not getting what they want. But Scorpios, I would put you guys on the list of people who really, really don't like it. Why? Because you're ruled by Mars, the planet of desire, and part of your purpose is to kind of learn sort of through times where your desire is thwarted to sort of learn the difference between power and powerlessness. So Scorpios don't usually like not getting what they want. You might find that you really, really want something related to, it's like whatever your current hope and dream, you might find a new one right now. You might just suddenly get a new dream. But because Mercury rules the 8th house, there can be something going on with relationships here as far as like the object of your desire not really returning your desires, kind of a thing. There could also be something going on with trust. Okay, Scorpios, I know you guys are not like usually like, oh, I trust everyone. Usually you're a little more naturally suspicious, a little bit more curious, a little bit more like, let's see if this person is really saying what they really mean. But with Mercury here and Mars stimulating that 8th house ruler, it makes me feel like maybe some Scorpios are in a position where you've just realized you can't trust someone, or maybe you've just realized that you can through something being revealed to you. Overall, this transit has a lot more to do with your life direction because so many planets are in your first house view. And again, Mercury here and Mars here, another way this can show up is you can just be really busy and really active during this time. And Uranus might just stimulate that and kind of make you feel like, I got to do stuff. I got to get stuff done. I got a lot to do. I'm busy. This could just be a time where, and it could also be a time where work is a strong part of your identity because you have your 6th house ruler and your 10th house ruler both in the first house. So it's like you might be busy trying to figure out or busy kind of fulfilling work obligations to your role in life, kind of a thing. Okay, we're going to go on now to the next sign, which is Sagittarius. So for Sag, Sun, Moon, and Rising, we have Mercury in your 12th house of isolation in the subconscious mind, opposite Uranus in the 6th house of work and diet and routines. So Maybe having conversations with yourself about why you do the things you do or why you want the things you want. There can be some kind of secret lover energy going on here because we have Mercury, which rules your relationship house, and Mars, which rules your dating house. In the 12th house, which is private, with the sun there, which is illuminating that privacy. What is going on, Sag? Maybe you are realizing that someone who you've just been dating or flirting with, it's more meaningful. There could be just some, you could also be like really motivated to connect with spirit guides, pray, have a deeper connection with God, right? Or whatever you would, universe, whatever you would say there. You might just really feel like doing that. You might feel a little bit of pressure to, I don't know, pressure around a secret crush. Now that could be you crushing or someone else crushing. There could be some pressure. Now, what would that be? I don't know. A secret crush puts more pressure on you to be not secret, and they want you to be with them and you don't want to, and you're feeling the pressure. It could also be someone you're into is privately reaching out, or you get some kind of private, it's hidden. No one knows it's there. They're going behind the scenes there, and Mercury rules your work house, your career house. So what does that mean? Maybe if there has been a secret crush at work, there's some pressure. You feel pressure to like have it not be secret. Doesn't mean it's not going to be secret. It just means the feelings of pressure are coming up right now. The feeling of like, do they like me or not? I'm into this person. The feeling of desire is stronger. And I kind of want to see how long this will go for you guys because it feels... Okay, actually, this one's moving apart. So if you're like got a super strong crush at work, it might start to fade, and that, could possibly be a good thing. I'm trying to see what else I can see for Sagittarius because it feels like there's other stuff going on here. You could be working more behind the scenes and people just don't see it. You can be very determined right now to get something done behind the scenes. And Uranus kind of stimulates that. Mercury and Mars, it's like work, work, work behind the scenes. But it's like, it's not public yet, It's like, it's more work, but it's not quite visible yet. It's getting work ready to do work kind of a thing. You could feel pressure to make more money or get higher. It's more likely like accomplishment. You could be feeling the pressure to accomplish more and to get more done and to not just do more, but like to be higher up in your career than you are. This does not mean you're getting a promotion right now. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like the fear of not getting a promotion might be coming up right now. And so that's kind of what I feel for this. Let me know, Sag, if that resonates. Moving on now to Capricorn. Whoops. Not like that. Like this. Okay, so for Capricorn, we are looking at Mercury in the 11th house, opposite Uranus in the 5th house. And so Mercury in the house of friends with Mars here. Capricorns might just be going out this weekend. Capricorns might be having more fun, seeing more people, doing an event, hosting an event, speaking, networking, going a bunch of places, going to one event, talking to a bunch of people. With Mars here stimulating Mercury there in that 11th, it's really likely more conversations. Some of you Capricorns might be doing something in a group setting that sort of focuses on healing, like psychological healing. I imagine like a coaching convention or like a Joe Dispenza workshop or a breath work, something where it's about getting to a root cause of a thing in a group setting. But breath work doesn't fully encompass it because it feels like there's talking involved and there's movement, So like, I don't know what that is. Uh, maybe some people are doing ecstatic dance. Maybe someone's going dancing and it's really therapeutic. Maybe it is some kind of group. Like I think of those like, I don't know what they're called when you do like a group challenge outdoors and there's like ropes and stuff and you're like climbing up walls or you're like people are getting piggyback rides or like I'm not explaining this well. You have these like challenges, kind of like an obstacle course, but it's like for adults usually, and it's like to take you out of your comfort zone. There's a name for these kind of activities. Maybe something like that. So this can also be because Mercury, is ruling your ninth house of the meaning of life, and it's in the 11th house of friends. So again, this feels like learning in groups. It feels like something you know, you're sharing it with a group. Sharing something you know with a group of people is the highlighted way I would see this. But you might be feeling pressure around that. You might be feeling pressure to communicate what you know to a lot of people. This doesn't necessarily mean you're doing it. Some Capricorns, maybe you got a speaking engagement of some kind this weekend. Others, maybe you went to, maybe you watched someone else's talk and you're all insecure now and you're like, I don't know anything. I got to go learn. Especially with Saturn in your third house of the mind, wanting to solidify what you know in some way. Now, if you're a writer, this could have more to do with writing and like written word and like feeling pressure to get some publication out or something. That could be another way that it shows up. And with Mercury also ruling your sixth house of work, there could just be a work event you have to go to this weekend. And that's what that is. So, and the pressure is like, when it's a work event and you just have to be there and it's not like you would hang out with these people, So there's that element of like, sort of like a lack of comfort usually with stuff like that. Although Uranus here is stimulating from the fifth house of desire and pleasure. So maybe there's something pleasureful going on here at the same time as well. Okay. Capricorns, let me know if that makes sense. I'm checking in on the comments, guys. Sag Rising Genie says, learning a lot of hidden stuff about ancestors. Okay. Yep, ancestors. Okay. That's cool. Thank you for sharing that. Jeannie's saying also, when I launch all this stuff I'm working on, it's easier, not so chaotic. I have Saturn conjunct my ascendant. Yes. Instant karma on the Saturn. I get you. I have Saturn conjunct my ascendant ruler. My whole life I wondered why I could never get away with anything and everyone else seemed to. But at least now I know. Okay, that being said, let's go on now to Aquarius for this one. So we have Aquarius's, we've got Mercury in your 10th house, Uranus in the 4th for that opposition. So Mercury here in the 10th will bring maybe some variety around work. You might be feeling pressure about communication at work if you work a job. If you work for yourself, you might be feeling pressure about how you market, how you communicate your business, or pressure to sell. Especially because Mercury rules your fifth house of self-employment. So those self-employed Aquariuses, this is a time where it's like, I gotta sell, I gotta make sales. And you might get a sudden sale, but it's like, because it's the opposition, there's more pressure around it. So it feels more like when you sell something and then you got to work hard to like hurry up and fulfill, where it's like something new or something difficult or something that is taking a high amount of energy. But it is, Mercury, which deals with sales, and your third house planet, which deals with, social media and like short bursts of communication and little conversations. So this feels like it's showing up for Aquariuses as a lot of conversations at work about selling. Now, for those who are not having your own business, there might be something else more creative that you're trying to launch or promote. And money does seem to be a thing right now with Saturn going direct in your second house. You can watch the video on that too. And yeah, just sudden changes to your role, the things you got to do at work or the things you got to do in your life. It's like something different, something unexpected, more talking, more communication, more public conversations, more focus on getting to the bottom of what's wrong with your marketing if you're in that self-employed section. If you're working for someone else, more focus on getting to the bottom of what could be done to be more efficient, or something like that, or feeling pressure to speak up, feeling pressure around maybe something you know or something you found out. Feeling pressure around how you express yourself at work and whether that expression is going to be received or not. Almost like you're in a workplace situation where it's like, you can't really totally be yourself, but you kind of wish you could, and that pressure might be feeling like it's there. Lots of stuff around career right now. With Mars in the 10th, usually you're really busy at work. You have a lot to do at work. With it in Scorpio with Mercury here, it's just like getting to the bottom of something, going deep into the root cause of a thing related to your work, your public image, your branding, something like that. That is really what I have for Aquarius. So we're going to go on now to Pisces. Aquarius, if you want more, check out the Saturn direct video. So for Pisces, we have Mercury in the 9th house with Mars stimulating it. So you might be feeling pressure around learning something, like you really want to learn something new and it's just bothering you that you don't know something. This is the axis of communicating what you know, but we're more on the receiving end of the knowledge here. So it's more about wanting to go on the quest of a new level of understanding of something. This can be deepening a level of understanding of something you already have. It could also have to do with emotional foundation. So almost like learning some deep root cause of some therapy related thing, or learning like theta healing, or wanting to learn how to deepen a modality that you already use or a skill you already have and make it go deeper and be more powerful and something like that. You could be feeling pressure to travel, to speak another language, to learn another language, there could be pressure around your beliefs, needing to defend a belief you have if you believe something. You might have, it's possible some Pisces could have a little conflict with someone where they kind of not attack, but like are go on the offense toward you related to something you believe. Like you don't believe in God and they're like, you should, or you do believe in God and they're like, you shouldn't, or not that God, my God, or, anything that's like a deeper belief that you hold. This could be a time where there's just a little bit more need to defend your belief systems and maybe stand firm, which is not always an easy thing for a Pisces to do because your nature is to be so yielding usually. And since Mercury rules your 4th house of home and emotional foundations, there could be something going on, especially with money, that makes you feel a little bit rattled, right? Because you've got your money planet conjunct the planet of home and emotional foundations. Now, what could that be? What could that be in the 9th house? Thinking about buying a house, thinking about moving, thinking about getting out of your neighborhood, maybe feeling pressure to make a plan to move or something, maybe feeling pressure to even make a plan for like what you need to do to feel good every day, to feel good in your own skin, and like kind of going on a quest to figure out what that is. Some Pisces might be doing that. Mercury also rules your 7th house, so there might be a pressure around love right now. It's possible there could be a love interest or a love offer, but it could also be someone bothering you who has a crush on you that you don't really like. But, it could be feeling like almost like trying to figure out like, what is the ideal relationship for me and what would that be? And sort of getting to the root cause of that. Now that can be happening inside of a relationship or not. If you are in a partnership, your partner, you might just be having a little bit of, there might be some disagreements with the partner about home and what should be happening with the home and where to live and stuff. There could also be some kind of, again, like focus on on, like running away with someone, eloping with someone, moving to another country with someone for those Pisces who that makes sense in terms of your life. Now, you kind of have to think about which ninth house topic here makes sense for you when it comes to Pisces. I mean, when it comes to when it comes to everything. Just, the law, astrology, the meaning of life, publishing, writing, teaching courses or learning courses of any kind, reading books, reading big ass books on the meaning of life and stuff, spiritual knowledge and information, occult stuff. All of that stuff goes in the ninth house. So you might be feeling pressure around any of those things. And again, especially when it comes to kind of going on a quest to figure out what you want to know next, what you want to learn next, what you want to publish next, what you want to study next. And especially those things that might be studying to prepare for the next level of career, some kind of up level when it comes to your status or your role in life or your job, right? So you might be feeling pressure right now, Pisces, to kind of get better at your craft so you can ask for more money, kind of a thing. And you might be more in the stage right now of what sacrifice am I going to make for the future, kind of a thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be right now, but it might be like, what do I want to do in the next couple of years that's going to help me elevate my life, right? My status, my earning potential. And just feeling all of that stuff combined together is like, you want to elevate your earning potential, but also in a way that still honors your soul and still feels good to you, and you can still be comfortable in your own skin. But what you do every day matters too. So it's like all three of those areas are sort of combining and getting pressure at the same time of like, it's not just like, oh, I want a better job. It's like, I want a better life where the work that I do every day makes good money and I feel happy. So if you're feeling like that right now, Pisces, I see the pressure around that. And sometimes when we have pressure around stuff, it's not the moment where we get the thing. It's the moment where we feel like we don't have it. And we kind of realize our dreams are kind of going to require some work. And this might be a time where it's a good time to let those feelings, if you have them, guide you to making the next steps. But I wouldn't, with Venus so close to Neptune right now, I wouldn't make the whole plan right now. I would just let the information and let the clarity come from what doesn't feel comfortable, and maybe make the plan starting Wednesday when Venus is not so close to Neptune, just because there's more potential right now with the transits we've got to kind of want to bite off more than you can chew in the first place. So that's what I have for you guys. If you are just jumping on, you can go back and watch the replay. Thank you for sharing that. It's so accurate. It really does help me when you guys share that stuff, because otherwise I'm just sharing it to the world and I have no idea. Also, 2 announcements. 1, readings are on sale. They're 50% off. Use the link in the description to book it. 2, check out my free video, my webinar I did today. Even if you missed it, the replay is up. It's how to find your aligned career using astrology. And it talks about what 3 places in the chart to look and other things that you need to know if you're trying to use astrology to, like me, align your life with your highest potential and use your chart as a tool to do that. So check both of those out, and I will see you beautiful souls in the next video. Bye guys.